Hello, everybody. So today we're going to do a duck breast from scratch, and we're going to start it with a pan sear it, and we're going to do one of the special country dish, cooking the mountain, like we're in that wavelength, and we're going to show you how easy it is that you can't mess up with it. So right in front of me, I got a beautiful duck breast. So before I put it in, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a knife and I'm going to core the fat, make slices into the fat on one side, going one direction. And in order to cook those duck breasts, you don't need to actually put to add some oil, because there's so much oil coming out of that fat that you don't want. In my previous video, I did add some ash oil for the simple reason that I'm trying to create a little bit of that smoky flavor, but otherwise you don't add any oil. So on the cold pan, very important. All right, I'm going to do salt, and I'm going to do pepper. All right, then I'm going to flip it around. I'm going to do pepper, salt, and we're going to stick on the cold pan this beautiful duck breast right in there. And because we're going to do it a little bit the way that they cook it in Provence, of course, I'm going to add some herbs of Provence on a dry pan, because it ain't going to take long before we have quite an amount of oil. So it's going to cook and be beautiful. And I'm going to take some thyme from the mountain, and I'm just going to put it right in there. Just the whole branches to do its own magic. So we're going to actually sear it on both sides, and we're going to actually take it out on the pan. We actually can go in the oven with no plastic, 400 degrees, between 6 to 8 minutes. Then you pull it out, and that's exactly what we're going to do. In the meantime, that this is like starting to go, all right, what I'm going to do is that once I'm starting to have a little fat in that pan, I'm going to add some cognac. Pick any cognac. And let's talk about a few things that I did. So in order to serve that, I actually took some vegetables, like cauliflower, that I actually steamed, or you can blanch them. A little bit of green beans with it, and I got some fennel also. And what I did is that the fat that comes out of that duck breast, or the previous day, I had already done a duck breast. All of that fat that I did mention, that you don't throw it away, you actually use it to put right on top of its beautiful vegetables. And it's up to you if you want to serve them hot or cold. But if you blanch them, obviously you got to put them into ice water after 5 minutes of being blanched in boiling water. And then what I do, I just put some duck fat right there, salt and pepper. And if you want to serve it as a cold salad, by all means, you can add some shallots, some balsamic vinegar, or whatever you want with it. Now, when I'm starting to have a little bit of, let's see, we're going to take it out, and then hopefully we can see. You see that all of that oil that already starting to happen? So when I'm starting to have some oil coming out of there, I take some shallots. This is like a whole shallot, and I'm going to put it all over it. And that's going to do its own magic. All right. And then I'm going to take some parsley, and I'm going to put it right on top, a little bit all over the place also. Now, I also did rehydrate some porcini mushrooms, and it's got some black truffle mushrooms in there, mixed with some bella mushrooms. And I'm going to, again, when you're starting to get that oil, look how beautiful that thing is already. With the thyme, the shallots, all that rendering fat from the duck breast, I'm going to add the mushrooms right to it. And it's going to do its own magic. Stir them up a little bit in the oil. I'm going to put it back right there in our heat source. And then let's talk about the other stuff that I did. So For this particular dish, which is really a little bit more fancy, that you actually find in the mountains also of the Alps in France or in northern Italy. So one of the things that they actually like to do is actually serve it with like spinach, they call linguine number 7. And what I did is that I put them al dente, I made them al dente, and again I took the duck fat that was from yesterday. When I did boil them, when I did make that in the water, I added some salt and some caraway seeds in the water. So what happens is that you're actually melting a little bit of the caraway seeds in there, and every bite that you're taking, every so often you're taking a bite, then obviously you're going to end up with a little bit of that in it, in your mouth. And also what I did is gnocchis. Gnocchis obviously comes from potato flour with some caraway seeds. I put them, you make them in 2 or 3 minutes, take them out, and you ended up with something that's absolutely delicious. So now that we've got this duck breast that's basically already seared pretty well on one side, and as you can see that it's actually starting to brown up, so it's doing its own magic right there. And so this is like a dish which is going to be very simple, and it really anybody can do it. The magic is to like sear it on both sides. Make sure that you don't add any oil with it. You don't have to put the mushrooms in there, but at the same time, I like to do that because it just complements the duck fat. It's actually a very good complement to the porcini and the black truffle mushrooms and everything like that with it. So now the salmon seared, we're going to put in. My oven is already turned on at 400, 6 to 8 minutes, and then we're going to dress up our 2 plates the way that I would serve them. Okay. All right. So that's going to go in the oven. All right. I'm going to start my counter so I know exactly 6 to 8 minutes. So I also wanted to talk to you about a little trick. When you're pulling that duck breast out after 6 to 8 minutes of cooking, and obviously if it's a duck breast that's on the thicker side, like this one, then I'm going to leave it until 8 minutes probably. Then I'm going to take it out from that pan completely and put it on the cold surface, like just a plate, and all the basically the juices are going to go back into the meat. Then you slice it. But the trick that I did find out also is that in some restaurants, obviously in actually many restaurants, we actually have heat lamps. So when the meat is actually resting, then it doesn't cool off completely. So we can actually stick the dish into one of the heat lamp that just keep it warm, ready to be served to the clients. Or what you can do also, because what will happen is that when you're waiting that 10 minutes for the juices to come back, and you can't really slice in until you wait that 10 minutes, then what I do is that if you have a cast iron stove, a pan like that, you can heat it up right on the stove while this is in the oven, and cast iron will keep its heat obviously much better than a regular steel pan. And what I'll do with it is that after 10 minutes, when I start to slice it, if I see that it's a little bit too pink, then I'll put it, when it's sliced, then I'll put it back right on top of the stove onto the cast iron pan. Just for some people, they like it to be cooked a little bit more, but that's it. But just to begin with, a duck breast is red meat, so you got to cook it like a steak. And that's the reason why you can't really mess up into anything like that. So also, one of the things that you can do, I mean, we don't have to do it, but I wanted to mention it, is that this particular duck breast, what I want to do is that I want to put fat down, and I'm going to drench it in cognac. Just a good shot of cognac. That's just gonna go in there, fat down. Again, 6 to 8 minutes. So what I'll do is that I'll wait until that time is gone by, and then, like I say, after the 10 minutes, when I start to slice it, which we'll get back to you in that moment, then if it is a little too red before I serve it, now I will have that little cast iron pan already heated up on the stove, and then I'll just stick some of the slices in there, and that's that. But again, you don't have to do that, because cooking it in 6 to 8 minutes in the oven and taking it out for 10 minutes, it's done to perfection, the way like the pros are doing it. It's very easy to accomplish that. So just to have it like on like a pan, like a cast iron pan, to put it back on, it's more or less to like eat up every pieces. So we'll get back to you after a few minutes when it comes out of the oven. Okay, we're back on. So I took this duck breast out of the oven 10 minutes ago, actually 8 minutes ago. And as you can see, into this pan, you have a tiny little bit of oil, but you got some coming from its own fat. But you also have a little bit of juice on the side. And I don't know if you can actually see it with the camera. You can fix that. And basically, what we add up is that all of the fat of that duck breast is actually in the pan with the mushrooms and the thyme and the shallots and the herbs also. So what I'm going to do quickly is that I got another minute and a half, because I'm waiting for 10 minutes for this actually duck breast to actually rest. And I'm going to take all those twigs from the thyme that I put in there, and I'm going to actually discard it. And because I don't want to serve that on the client's plates. And what I'm going to do after taking those little branches of thyme out is that I'm going to end up with a lot of oil and a lot of mushrooms, all the mushrooms and the shallots that I just did. So what I'm doing right now is actually I'm pulling all of the mushrooms on one side of the pan. A couple of little twigs left over. And when you're doing actually those country dishes and you're going to those beautiful auberge to eat those dishes, I mean, literally, like most of the clients, they don't complain when they got to pick a couple of like thyme branches or stuff like that, because they all understand that it's part of the making of those dishes. And what I'm going to do is basically I'm going to take those mushrooms right out, and I'm going to collect them right there into a little tiny pan. So we're done with this, and we're going to dress up our plates. So again, those mushrooms, you can serve them on top of it, or you can bring them on the table, and then you just let the clients actually, if they want some porcini mushrooms and all those black truffles, then they can pick at it and then basically dress up those dishes the way that they want. So now we're going to start dressing up our plates. So I got the number 7 linguine, and what I'm going to do right now is that stick some of it. We're going to roll it just like that, and we're going to plate it as such. So this is possibly one of those dishes that, and then, like I said, we can just like dress them up with a little bit of mushrooms and a little bit of black pepper. And what I'll do to it is that you can take some Parmigiano Reggiano. So that will be one of the side dish to serve with our duck. And the other side dish that we have is the gnocchis, well done up with potatoes. All right, and I just like made them with a little bit of caraway seeds in water, so there is a tiny little drop of caraway seeds in there. And again, use some parsley. I'll do some mushrooms, and I love this is like a group of like black truffles, bella mushrooms. It's got like porcini mushrooms, all kinds of like mushrooms from the mountain. And it's if you put time in there, it's really easy to pick out. And some people put some Parmesan cheese on there. It's up to you if you want to put Parmesan cheese in there. So now, what we're going to do, we are going to do our duck. So the duck has been resting for 10 minutes, and this is what we're going to do right now. We're going to slice it in slices a little thicker than normal. And this is the way to cook it like a pro. 6 to 8 minutes in the oven after searing it. Grease down when it goes in the oven. And what I will do before I plate it, I want to mention that if by any occasion, and like I said, if there are some people who are not comfortable in how beautiful that meat is, just like right now, then I did mention that if you keep like a cast iron skillet on the stove that's really hot, you can stick it right in there for just the few people that like it a little bit more well done. But otherwise, this is the way to serve basically duck. And I'm going to do that. And I'm going to take the rest of that beautiful duck, and I'm going to actually plate it for different use later on. Okay? And what we're going to do with it is that we're going to add black pepper, a few mushrooms from the mountains, because we are cooking the mountain. Here we go. A little bit of parsley on it. And I'm going to add some ground Italian seasoning on top of it. And then here we go. Just like that. This is my take on another way to cook duck breast with some gnocchis made out of potatoes with a few mushrooms, was a little bit of duck fat breast coming from the breast right on it, little parsley, and also the linguine number 7, which was spinach linguine. And like I said, those are beautiful, simple mountain dishes, a little bit dressed up, were served today in really beautiful, great, fantastic mountain restaurants. And like I said, it was a privilege to grow up with my grandfather and hunting for ducks, hunting for rabbits, and learn and how to skin the rabbits and all the ducks and do all that stuff. And basically, it makes you respect the animals that you're hunting for. It makes you respect the whole industry of hunting, and basically you ended up with some beautiful, beautiful dishes who actually made it nowadays to some of the most elegant restaurants between France and Italy and around the world. And it's a beautiful thing to. I love to make dishes like this because this is what I grew up with, and it's actually keeping the memories alive from my family, and not only the memories but the ways of cooking. And for me, it's dear to my heart to actually share it with you all in during the holidays and throughout the year. Thank you for all of your support on YouTube. Please subscribe, and we'll see you again soon with another bunch of dishes. I don't know what I'm going to do next. I don't know if I'm going to cook the ocean. We still have to cook the 7 fishes in Italy, so we did 2 of them. So that, again, I'm not going to stop at just like 8 other dishes for Christmas. I'm going to keep on going probably because I love to cook for my friends and you guys, and we'll see you soon with the next video. So on this note, enjoy your cooking. I hope that you enjoy this view today on duck breast. Very simple to do, and enjoy until the next video. Goodbye.